These three movies are all in the same universe. I can tell. It's the red outlines. I've been a fan of Mamoru Hosoda ever since my preteen years. He's kinda like the Steven Spielberg of the anime medium. Whimsical, adventurous, and sentimental, but also thrilling and intense. And I'm talking prime Spielberg, like 80s and 90s Spielberg. Hosoda's track record ranges from really fucking good to... But even if the movie isn't great and/or is wrought with anime tropes, there's still a lot of creativity and emotional stakes that are always consistent throughout his filmography. My favorites from him are Summer Wars and Wolf Children, obviously. Both I had the privilege of seeing in theaters, which was pretty damn awesome, let me tell you. And that's really the biggest strength of Hosoda. For better or for worse, he knows how to deliver a memorable viewing experience, though seeing his work on the big screen is truly ideal. And his latest title, Belle, is quite honestly the perfect storm of the best and worst from his directorial style. Now, full disclosure, I fucking love this film. I was completely enchanted the whole way through. I love the artistry, the OST, the songs, the backgrounds. You can call me a simp. I was enthralled. However, there are some very glaring and undeniable flaws with both the narrative and its pacing, and the character development. Flaws that can very much break one's immersion and enjoyment of the overall product. So, let's go over it, shall we? Oh, and along the way, I'll be making many comparisons and contrasts to Summer Wars because it's kinda fucking hard not to. Hosoda is more of a fanboy for this shit than I am. Jesus, dude. How many times are you gonna make Ready Player Digimon? Oh, also spoilers galore. But I do recommend you watch it though. Link in the description. Here we go. Alright, let's just get this out of the way. First and foremost, the animation is astonishing. I think it's safe to say Hosoda has perfected and refined this style of stylized CG art contrasted with the realism of everyday suburban Japan. And that's not to say it was at all bad in Summer Wars or even our war game, but you can see the evolution of the art direction, going from simple and muted to increasingly complex and detailed, colorful worlds, to full-on maximalism. Just how much shit can we put on the screen even after it gets ridiculous? The world of You is both an absolute triumph of animation technology and so overwhelmingly cluttered with colors and inhabitants that it all kind of ends up meshing into a grayish blur. It's impressive as hell, but it's more the sheer scale and scope of everything that's impressive and not so much the content of the virtual city. Contrast that with Oz, utilizing a blank base so that each and every individual asset and silhouette is clear and easy to notice. It's certainly a lot more appealing for me, but that's just my personal taste. In this film, it's more so the outside of You that's far more interesting to me. Not only utilizing VR tech for this film to fully immerse you into these amazing panoramas, but also teaming up with the brilliant artists at Cartoon Saloon for the other worlds located in You. It's unbelievable. Like, we are in the fucking future, guys. Jesus Christopher Christmas. The lighting and compositing is on another level. Now, with that said, this movie can be a little indulgent with its animation styles at times, though I'm mainly talking about this scene, and this scene. But I'll go into more detail on them when I talk about the pacing. So overall, the animation is obviously 10 out of 10. It's just a matter of whether or not it's too much clutter for you. In regards to the story, characters, and overall writing, half the story obviously takes place in You, but our main character is a teenage girl named Suzu. Suzu has had what you would call a really tough shake at things. Back when she was a kid, Suzu and her mother started off learning music together, and got Suzu into singing as a passion. But as per the usual in a Hosoda film, a loved one dies a traumatic death. In particular, Suzu's mom, who sacrifices herself to save a toddler in a flooding river. Ever since then, Suzu has developed crippling social anxiety and struggles to properly sing, the one thing that she and her mother loved doing most. She has shut herself out from most of her friends, especially her own father, who just wants to have some dinner with his daughter. On top of that, she is overly empathetic to other people's pain and circumstances, to a point where she simply can't control her emotions. As a way to escape this cruel reality, she creates an account on You, and using its biometric scanning system, it creates the Belle AS, or alternate self, based on Suzu's inner self. Aw, how nice. When Belle first emerges in You, the first thing she does is sing, and to Suzu's amazement, it's the first time she's sang properly in years. This garners the attention of no one, except a small angel sprite. He liked the song, but attention wasn't the point. Suzu created Belle as a form of self-expression, and as a way of reconciling with her late mother. But that peace doesn't last for long, as Belle becomes an overnight sensation, raking in a plethora of mixed opinions from anger and vitriol to unrelenting praise. This, of course, overwhelms Suzu, but her friend quickly comes to her aid as her producer, and basically relishes in Belle's celebrity and the online discourse. But soon, a mysterious user called Diaboromon, Love Machine, The Beast, starts wreaking havoc in You. During one of her shows, the Beast storms in and decimates the cyber police pursuing him, with ladders, no less, not unlike any other movie. Belle, or Suzu, being the empathetic and caring individual she is, wants to know why the Beast did this. This violent incident sparks a worldwide search for the Beast's real identity, and there's a call for him to be unveiled, as they say here, where his true self will be displayed in the world of You forever. So I'll get to more of the meat of the narrative as we go on, but that's basically the main plot of the film. And as far as writing consistency, setups, and payoffs go, it's not half bad, honestly. It's predictable in the sense that this is a Beauty and Beast story, and it has all the beats and plot points we are familiar with, but it's executed in a fine enough way that it's not annoying to get through. The journey through their relationship and the search for his identity is engaging enough to keep you interested until its fantastic conclusion. Oh, and a quick note. I really gotta hand it to Hosoda for portraying the internet for exactly what it is. An overwhelming flurry of reactionary opinions from all sides of the spectrum. The overall attitude of the internet stays uncannily faithful to real life without being cringe or succumbing to outdated meme culture. It's treated very realistically and surprisingly nuanced. So yeah, that was nice. Oh, also, here's another note I have. God damn, Justin and his millions of sponsors are fucking hilarious. What a himbo, I would let him unveil me. Okay, time to talk about some of the flaws. Interspersed throughout the story, there are these side characters that, kinda suck, gotta be honest. They're not the worst I've ever seen, but they offer little to nothing in terms of entertainment for me. Not only that, but they are really underdeveloped. Let's go over them, and let me show you how pointless some of them truly are. Okay, first there's Hiroki, and she's the least bad, I guess. She's the comedic best friend archetype, and, she's kind of an asshole, but the movie acts like she's funny, so it's okay. I guess. But aside from that, she doesn't get much else, and like I said, I don't find her particularly funny. Then there's Kamishin, or at least that's his nickname. His shtick is that he likes canoeing. A lot. And that's funny, because everyone else is weirded out by him because of how much he likes canoeing. And that's pretty much where his character starts and ends. Then there's Luca. She's supposed to be the popular girl at school that Suzu looks up to, and they kind of have the makings of a friendship, kinda not, acquaintances. Either way, she's just there to give encouragement to Suzu and date the canoe guy later on, so, good job. Oh, and she's in the school band. That's a character trait. Yeah, like I said, these characters are pretty useless, but not as useless as Shinobu. This guy is not a character, and I will fight you IRL if you think he is. He's supposed to be the romantic interest, I suppose, because he passively-aggressively tries to look out for Suzu like, hey, you okay? You tell me. You okay? And Suzu's like, no. And that's it. That's pretty much every fucking scene with these two aside from the last minute. The most he does is figure out that Suzu is Belle, and he's just as enthusiastic about that as he is with everything else in the movie. Oh, and I guess he encourages Suzu to sing at the end, which she would have done anyway. Fuck off. This guy is as important to the plot as my ass is to guacamole. Now, on the subject of pacing, there were 3 scenes I mentioned earlier that seriously stunt the flow of the film, and it all has to do with Hosoda's indulgence with his style. The first one isn't so bad, but it goes on a little too long for my taste. It's one of Belle's performances, but she spends the whole time swim dancing with some whales, says thank you, and that's it. It's rather awkward and could definitely be trimmed down a tad. Also, I don't know, maybe have her sing. The other scene that really annoyed me was this ungodly long take comedy sketch where Kamisha nervously asks out Luca. They milked every last drop from this fucker of a scene. I know it's supposed to sell how uncomfortable the situation is, and I know comedy is subjective, but Jesus Christ, man. You could have made this scene 10 times shorter, and the rest of the film would have been better for it. Good God. But the scene that truly perplexed me was when Suzu finds out her classmates have started a rumor about her and Shinobu. We get this weird strategy board game style bit where Suzu and Hiroki try to stop the drama before it spreads. And I cannot believe how pointless this all is. It has no bearing on the plot, the characters, the themes, anything, because it's solved in just over a minute. It's the definition of a non sequitur. It's just there to show off more of the style and to pad out the runtime. You can remove this whole scene and the movie would remain exactly the same. What the shit? And this is what I mean when I say the film is a maximalist mess. Not just with the artistry, but with everything. More subplots, more scenarios, more characters, more set pieces, more glitter, more glamour, more. Hosoda is so dead set on delivering us this crazy, massive behemoth of a movie, and he must feel the best way to do that is to make it jam-packed with as much shit as possible, which you seriously don't need. Now I know what you're thinking. Didn't Summer Wars also have a shitload of underdeveloped characters and crazy visual flair? Yes, it absolutely did. But here's the kicker. Every character all do their part and contributes in their own individual and unique ways to have some effect on the plot. Whether they be police, doctors, firemen, IT guys, military scientists, little kids, doting mothers, tough as nails, businesswomen, or old war veterans and historians, every character in Summer Wars pushes the plot forward, no matter how integral or small a part they play. These guys and Belle are very basic anime background characters. Nothing really separates them from any other extra outside of their one-dimensional quirks. And like I said earlier, the visual stimulation in Summer Wars is controlled and contrasted enough to not be cluttered. Belle employs the clutter as part of its aesthetic. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying maximalism is inherently bad. Like I disclosed at the beginning, I do love the style of this film. I just think it's a bit much at times and that it can work against the film. There's a reason why less is more is so commonly used when it comes to crafting any work of fiction. It stops excess like this from happening and from bogging down the experience. That's my stance on that. Getting back to the central story of Suzu/Belle and the Beast, like I said earlier, it starts off pretty familiar, but of course there's a twist. First off, as you may have inferred, it's not about romantic love at all. It's more about platonic love and human connection. Both the Beast and Suzu have shut themselves out from everyone in their lives, and together they both slowly learn to be more vulnerable and trusting, which helps Suzu to be more open and honest with the people in her everyday life. The Beast, however, remains a mystery for the majority of the film until the beginning of the third act. In fact, the hour 20 mark onward is one of the best third acts I've seen from Hosoda in a long time. We find out that the Beast is actually an abused 14-year-old boy trying to protect his little brother from their monster of a father. Upon seeing this, Suzu and her colleagues are desperate to help in any way. After the father leaves, Suzu attempts talking to the boy and tries to convince him she's Belle and that she can help. But being a scared, doubtful, and cornered child, he of course doesn't trust that she's Belle or that she'll help them. This leads to Suzu going on to Yu and forcing Justin to unveil her in front of the whole world, so she can sing her final song as herself to gain the trust of the beast to save him from his hellish situation. And my god, this final set piece is exactly the kind of large-scale majesty I expect from Hosoda. This actually reminded me of the Song of the Sea finale the first time I saw it. The song is powerful and somber, the visuals are hypnotic, and it even got a few tears out of me. It's a mammoth of a scene that builds to an incredible climax where the voices grant Suzu back her Belle AS, and a miraculous parade of light is blasted across the virtual landscape. It's nothing short of amazing. But unfortunately, the boy is unable to give Suzu his address in time because of his dad finding out people have been eavesdropping on his home. Haha, sucks to suck. This leads to our cast 4channing and redditing the shit out of the video images to decipher and triangulate the location of the two boys. I do rather like this moment, cause it's done in 30 seconds. It was barely an inconvenience. Man, it's amazing how we can use the internet to save lives like this, but instead we use it to fight with strangers. Suzu immediately boards a train and makes the long trip halfway across Japan to save the kids. She arrives at the neighborhood and finds the kids out in the rain trying to escape their piss-poor excuse for a dad. And this ending scene with Suzu protecting the kids from him is so well done. He tries to pry her from his sons, injuring her face in the process, but she never wavers. As she stares daggers at this monster threatening to hit her, it just becomes all the more clear to him how much of a piece of shit he is. And soon enough, he sheepishly and submissively backs off. Awesome. Just awesome. Awesome stuff. When it comes to hard-hitting emotional finales, Hosoda just knows how to pull at all the right heartstrings and deliver an exhilarating wrap-up to the story. It's one of the many things that keeps me coming back to his films. The Beast shares a wonderfully heartfelt I love you, as Suzu embraces the two boys in a hug. And from there, all the loose ends are tied up. Suzu has overcome her fears and anxieties. She and Shinobu are... well, they're not really together yet, so that was a waste. Luca and Kamishin are there. So they're there. But most importantly, Suzu finally joined her dad for food. Thank God, I actually really felt for that guy. He just tried to be there for her this whole time and she was always like, no. But yeah, the movie ends with them walking along the riverside as they prepare to sing a song together. Hooray! A happy ending. But then Diaboromon comes back and fucking kills them all. And so that was Belle. It was pretty good. While it ends on one of the highest notes of his career, I can't say in confidence this is Hosoda's best film to date. But I can say it's his most ambitious film to date. And like I've said over and over, that's both a good and bad thing. Hosoda really reached for the stars with this one, and while it's certainly paid off in some areas, it's pretty messy in others. Its flaws hold it back from being one of his best works, and while I personally give it an 8 out of 10 for my overall enjoyment, it's much closer to the 4 to 6 out of 10 range, objectively speaking. Still, even with all the spoilers I've given, I highly recommend at least one viewing of it. You're bound to find a few things you enjoy. And that's pretty much it. You can click off the video now, but I'd prefer if you don't because I cease to exist after the video ends.